Hi everyone, and welcome to my podcast. Can you believe August is almost over? This month has been a whirlwind. It's my birthday month, so of course I made time to celebrate. We went to Enchanted Kingdom earlier in the month, and I had a feast at Vikings on my actual birthday. At the same time, I've been pushing forward in my career, juggling creative consulting, strategy work, project management, and preparing for an Adobe Podcast webinar I had planned a month in advance. And let me tell you, the date is coming up fast. So today, I want to share a bit about my journey with storytelling, why it matters so much in audio, and how I discovered Adobe Podcast as a powerful tool for creators like us. Here's something fascinating. The human brain processes stories up to 22 times more effectively than facts alone. That's why stories stick, while plain information often fades. Podcasts take this to another level. They're often called the intimate medium. Because most listeners tune in with headphones, it feels like a one-on-one conversation, just you and the storyteller. And science backs this up. When we listen to stories, our brains release oxytocin, sometimes called the empathy hormone. It makes us more likely to trust, connect, and empathize with the storyteller. That's the magic of audio storytelling. It's not just content, it's connection. Now, let's zoom out for a moment. We're living in a time where content moves faster than ever, but attention spans keep shrinking. Every single minute, more than 500 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube. The average person spends about 2 hours and 24 minutes every day on social media. And our attention span? Studies suggest it's down to about 8 seconds. This is where content velocity comes in. Velocity isn't just about rushing. It's about creating with flow and repurposing smartly. For example, one podcast episode can turn into 5 to 10 different content pieces. Audio for Spotify or Apple Podcast, a video version for YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn, short audiograms for Instagram or TikTok, even blog post captions or transcripts. One story, many lives. On a personal note, this month also marked a big life change. I left the company I've been with for 9 years. That kind of transition makes you pause, reflect, and ask what's next. For me, it was what brought me back to storytelling, something I've always loved, and surprisingly, it also led me to finally trying out Adobe Podcast. I'd seen Adobe Podcast before thanks to Sir Roland and Jean, who introduced it to me. But I never had the chance to dive in until last month. And when I finally did, I was amazed. It was simple, it was easy, and most importantly, it fit naturally into how I already work. The current process that I use when creating podcasts is finalizing the story. So, the previous month hasn't been as smooth sailing as I've made it sound so far. I actually had to use it as a reflection to calm my mind. It's all thanks to the opportunity to organize my thoughts, and with the help of ChatGPT, I was able to move faster by drafting blog-style content and then reshaping it into a podcast-friendly script. My very first attempt, I just used my phone's recorder. If you're using Android, it has a built-in recorder app. And I just used that because I wasn't confident with the quality of my microphone. I later synced it in Google Drive, and then I downloaded it to my laptop so that I can start editing it. But if you guys have great microphones already, you can actually record straight using the built-in recorder apps for Windows and Mac. And then, for some reason, after I finalized my story and recorded my audio, I don't know what kind of creature spoke to me to try Adobe Podcast. Like subconsciously, I think with Sir Roland and Jean sharing, like it sort of stuck to my mind. So I was able to go check out Adobe Podcast, and that's where the magic happens. I simply uploaded the raw audio, and I was amazed with how clean and crisp it sounded, even if I wasn't using a studio type of microphone. And of course, I explored further, and exporting was so simple. If you want to use audiograms, and if you also want to include transcripts. Like recently, just for fun, I used it to create like the karaoke subtitles for a song cover that I made, and it was fun. So as an extra final step, I actually am familiar with using Adobe Premiere, and I wanted to add some more personal creative flair into the audio that I have exported. Actually, I exported with a video as well because I exported an audiogram. So I used Adobe Premiere to add background music and use the auto docking feature. So it's a really good workflow. So I'm very happy that I discovered that. Storytelling is how we connect. And in today's fast, noisy, multi-platform world, tools like Adobe Podcast help us share those stories clearly and creatively. For me, this journey has been about rediscovering my voice, embracing content velocity, and finding tools that let me create with flow. So here's my challenge to you. Take one story, record it simply, upload it to Adobe Podcast, and see how you can bring it to life. If you're listening to this before August 30, 2025, then I also challenge you to go join us in our podcast-style webinar with Sir Roland and Creative Nation Academy. We talk more about storytelling through voice using Adobe Podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and I can't wait to hear your stories too.